make sure I don't lean in too much on you. All right. Hey everybody, this is Chad Jordan, Director of Marketing at Sport Clips, and we have another special edition of the Sport Clips Hall of Fame podcast today. I have, we just set a record in the last recording because we had 4 managers on the podcast. We've now broken that record in the very next podcast because we have 6. I've got 6 rock stars with us today. So we're going to be talking about the look, which is a contest we put on, really, is it all year, I guess? But at least at Huddle, where we have 6 regions represented with the best haircut in the country and Canada, right? And they're represented. And so we decided we'll get the 6 rock stars who did the haircuts and experienced all this stuff. We'll get them on a podcast and talk to them a little bit about what they've done, how it feels now to have at least been done with the platform stage, and as they wait to find out who the winner is. So without further ado, I'm gonna have my first guest introduce herself and her store name and where she was when she found out she had been picked to be the look representative.
I'm Sammy. I work at SK201. I was actually in the Starbucks drive-thru when I found out. My friend that works at a different Saskatchewan store called me, and she told me to check Facebook. So, yeah, here we are.
And just in case anybody out there is wondering, Saskatchewan is in Canada.
Yes.
So, as I was informed earlier today, so I appreciate all the geographical education that we're able to provide on this show. All right, thank you. Okay, next.
My name's Shay. I'm the manager of AR202, and I was in the middle of a haircut when 2 of my coaches and a local manager and my area director came in with balloons and a cake and Facebook Live right in my client's face.
Oh, yeah. Did you have to like blurb his face?
No, she got closer and he kind of turned away, but it was a lot of fun.
How were you able to finish the haircut after all that adrenaline just rushed your body? It might have been good practice for what you had to do today.
Yeah, it definitely was. I treated him just like I do every single time. It was cool. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna finish cutting my hair and I'll meet you guys in the back in a little bit.
That's awesome.
But it was definitely really cool to be brought basically a brigade.
Yeah, and so they did a Facebook Live video. And did they do it from the store or from their own social media profile?
It was from Ashley's social media, but I know that she's really, really prominent with Sport Clips.
Yeah, a lot of people saw it. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, next.
I'm Christian from FL219. I'm the assistant over there, and I was actually in the middle of a haircut as well when I did it. When I was at my previous store at 210, and I was doing a haircut, and Deborah called me, my team leader, and she told me like that I won and this, that, and the third. So just like her, I just kept on cutting hair. But then a little bit after, because she lives in Virginia, she couldn't like come and see me. So she sent me a video of her popping champagne and like the yard
nice.
and stuff.
And drinking it on your behalf.
Honestly, yeah. She's like, oh, I was like, oh, fun, have fun. But yeah, she's amazing.
You know what I should have put on? You might be the only. In fact, this is why it's the Hall of Fame podcast. You might be the only assistant manager ever to have his profile represented on his region's T-shirt at Huddle. Isn't that you? Have you seen the T-shirts?
My shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's never happened. That's a record. That's never happened before. Just so you know. So you're kind of a big deal in case you didn't already know that. So congratulations.
Formally being the second guy to compete is pretty cool
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Congratulations, and you're up.
I'm Anna from VA212, and I found out.
Team leader.
Team leader Twan Dam.
Okay.
Yeah, not Deborah.
Yeah.
No offense. And I found out when I was at home, my coach Kate Skelton called me, and I really didn't believe her for a minute, so I started crying.
Crying because you thought she was pulling a cruel prank on you, and that your friendship with her was over. I mean, why?
It started out as that, and then it went into just, oh, this is really happening.
And were you crying at the thought of maybe having to get on stage and all that? Oh, okay. All right. And which we're going to talk about in just a second. So, all right, cool. Next up.
I'm Maria from AZ146. I believe my team leaders are Val and Jared.
Okay.
And I was also...
We call it, by the way, for Val and Jared, we call them valid. Anyways.
Alright.
Okay, anyways, all right.
I was also in the middle of a haircut. My manager, she turned around, she was like, Maria, look at the board. And I guess my area coach, she checked in online as Maria 1, but it was like one name. I was like, who's that? Like,
Maria
how do
One.
you even
Yeah.
say that name, Maria 1?
What a weird name.
And Brenda's like, no, you won. And I was like, no way. And I was like, I started shaking, and I was like doing a skin fade on my client too. And he was like, please calm down.
Yeah.
He's
Did he get what was going on? Did
yeah,
you at least explain?
he was proud of me, like excited for me, but he was like, yeah, just
This
take
is important.
5 minutes, stop shaking, and then you can start again.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
All right, last but not least.
My name is Imani Tesano. I'm from Houston, Texas, TX258, and my team leader is Kiera James. And I found out, I was at home actually in my restroom, and she called me and was like, oh my God, girl, you won. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Because I didn't win first in my local contest.
Really?
No.
Whoa, I didn't know. So what did they take? Top 2?
It was top out of 4. I placed second in out of the first to fourth place. I placed second. So I was just like, whatever, like not thinking anything Vegas.
Yeah.
And she called me and was like, oh my God, girl, you won. And I was like, what? She was like, you're not a final. I mean, you're a finalist, not a runner-up. You're a finalist. They won you in Vegas. I was like, huh? And I was like, okay. And then her manager called, and yeah.
That was crazy. And
Yeah,
did you ask, are you sure you got the right phone number and you weren't supposed to call somebody else? Like, what
I
were you
was just
thinking?
looking. I'm like, huh? Wait, me? Vegas? What? Yeah, because I had 1 second, so I didn't think nothing about Vegas.
So the who told you guys about the look? I mean, is this something you, like? I'm not a stylist, so I've never worked in a Sport Clips. Do you show up on the first day at Sport Clips and by the way, so we have this look competition every year, and at some point you can enter it or whatever. How do you find out about it?
That's what they did for me.
Huh?
They did that for
They
me.
did it. Oh, let's hear from Christian. So okay, so the very first day, you get hired, and they say what?
So it was in my interview process.
Okay.
When Shannon Belchat, FL210, she's the manager. She told me like there's a look contest, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like I love competing. I love just like competition. And then I like told her, I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna win it. And then I'm here now. So like,
How long ago was that?
That was in June.
Okay, so we're not even a year.
Yeah.
And you literally are here where you said you'd be.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think it's cool that I predicted it.
Yeah. Called your shot.
Awesome, yeah. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Has it been fun?
Yeah, it has been.
Okay.
Yeah, I even entered in like the last 3 days. So
Same.
I was like,
What? Your last minute, 11th hour?
My manager bribed me actually.
Right.
Let's give
So-
What do you mean? Well, so your manager bribed you?
Yeah, I kept seeing the paper in the back, like the packet, and then my manager sent a group text to our store. She's like, please, if someone enters this, I'll give you $100 just for entering. She's like,
What?
please, just enter it
And you
show me.
thought $100?
I was like, I wasn't even gonna do it. I was like, whatever. But it was my boyfriend. He needed a haircut anyway.
Oh.
And he's his hair is really unique, and so I was like, okay, I'll just do your hair.
Wait,
whatever.
is he your model this week?
No.
Oh, okay.
I had a
I didn't
different
know.
model.
Okay.
He was walking around with his like bleached hair.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And I kept putting it off, but my boyfriend like showed up to my house with the papers. He's like, sign them, and like bringing thin and shears and stuff. He's like, do it now, do it. It's $100. So I was like, fine, I'm not gonna win, but okay.
So you had to get talked into it. You knew, but waited to the last minute.
Yeah.
Anybody else have second thoughts, like they weren't sure that was you? All right, let's hear. When you heard about the look, or it was time to submit your haircut or whatever. What was your thought process?
Well, my manager made it a requirement for everybody to send in at least one.
I'm gonna take that idea.
Wait, okay, but
Yeah.
a requirement? How? I don't get it.
We all had to send in.
Or what?
I mean,
You don't. You're too scared to know, right? Yeah. Okay.
Some people didn't do it, but they're not here anymore. So.
Okay, you're just saying.
But-
So requirement, and and that's what worked for you?
Yeah, I sent in 3 different haircuts, but it was the first one. That
Now,
got
when
chosen.
you say send in, is it a video? Is it a snapshot?
Before and after pictures.
Okay, so before and after, and you post it on social media somewhere, or do you email it to?
You send it to your coach.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Other people's, what was yours? We'll get you the mic. What was? How did they talk you into getting in the contest?
So May will be 2 years that I've been working with Sports Clips.
Okay.
But the first year I didn't know anything about it. The second year, the second year she spoke about it a little bit, but
Who's she in the sentence?
she is Kier, my
Okay.
manager.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh my God, girl, I think you should do this," and and I'm like, whatever, like not I didn't think much of it. This totally was bigger than what I thought it would have been, but
Because you had never been to Huddle.
right. I've
Had
never
anybody been to Huddle before?
No.
One person's been to Huddle. So and you've seen the look.
I have.
So you kind of knew, but y'all had really no idea the magnitude of what you were getting yourself into. When did it dawn on you how big this is?
Today. When I seen all those people out there.
When you watch the doors open and everybody.
When we seen everyone coming in.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But I always take before and after pictures of my work because I like to see the progression that I've made.
In your career.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just had a bunch of pictures on my phone that I took before and after pictures of, and I just literally the day before the contest was over, I uploaded 9 pictures, and then she ended up telling me that they chose me to compete within the local, competition, and then I competed in the local competition. I was discouraged because I didn't win first place within the local competition.
See, I knew I shouldn't have.
I was just like, whatever, in Vegas.
They're
Okay.
hating,
But
yeah.
before, she was like, you're going to go to Vegas. I think you're going to go to Vegas. And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And then I was discouraged.
Yeah.
But then I beat, obviously, the person
Right.
that beat me. So
Right.
it was cool.
I like it. Let's hear it down. We're gonna hear from both of y'all. So, how did you? Well, you've been at Huddle, so you've known about the look. So let's ask you.
I've known about the look.
Yeah. Had you ever entered before?
No.
Okay.
And
And obviously none of y'all had. This was your first time entering. Okay.
they submitted the only haircut that I did.
Mhm.
So they, my area manager made it a requirement for all of the managers to participate because she wanted people to participate in our local look. And I placed first in my local.
Are you an
and-
A-team store?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. And so my area coach sent it in for nationals, and then I didn't think anything of it, and then they come in with balloons and cake.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really surreal moment.
You want the mic back?
No, I was just going to, do I need
Here,
the mic?
no.
Oh, I was just going to ask, you guys didn't post on Instagram,
Mm-mm.
I was
sent
looking
it
for
to
y'all's haircuts.
to
So I
our
was like, who are these
coach.
people?
No.
Because we posted on Instagram, Houston Look 2019, and that's how
Nice.
they were able to look at the before and after pictures of everybody.
So one of
Hold
our
on, because we got to do that next year. Just a reminder that's amazing what Houston did and
Yeah.
made it a social media event.
Mm-hmm.
And
That would definitely
the
be a lot
best,
better.
literally the best haircuts in the market. They're putting them on.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you come to Sport Clips when the market's doing that kind of stuff? Anyway.
Yeah, because I feel like it's only fair that everybody else can see your
Right.
haircuts and you're not hidden.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I deleted mine when I found out that you guys would have been looking for me when my last name was on the page.
I
was
looked
like,
for you and I was
y'all ain't
like,
gonna find this
Yeah,
haircut
this,
nowhere.
you know what? I
I think
noticed
one of your friends
when
got
we
it.
did the introductions, you didn't give your last name too.
No.
So okay, and I almost followed up with a question like, "Oh, what was your last name?" But now I know why. Okay, you don't want anybody
I
to
looked
know.
for
Real
him.
private, honey.
You want to be the only Christian.
I'm not really big on social media, let alone.
That hurts.
Instagram.
That hurts, right? Here.
I'm really
Just
not.
so you know.
I feel like it doesn't have a positive impact in my life, and
Mhm.
I've felt a lot better since I've actually cut it out.
All right, good for you.
But I actually looked up the look contest haircuts on Facebook, and I looked through every single haircut that even got
Like,
entered on Facebook.
Is it through a hashtag the look or? how did
So if you search it, it'll just really bring up anything that's
Okay.
ever said the look. So it was really cool. One of the local managers saw other markets holding our local look, and she was like, "I want to do it at my store." So she's like, "Everybody be there at 7." We didn't start cutting until 8:30, so I got home at 10 after working 9 to 8.
Oh, mhm.
And so I wasn't really happy, and she's like, "Aren't you glad that I did this?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm still gonna really like my sleep."
Yeah.
Just really tired.
And probably food. You probably
Yeah.
didn't even eat. So, all right, Canada. What was the experience? How did they get you guys to participate? What did they do?
Well, I mean, I kind of found out about it the first time it came around, the first year I worked there.
Okay. How long you been with Sport Clips?
2.5 years.
But this is your first Huddle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I entered twice last year, but my haircuts have gotten so much better.
All right. So no, this is good because everybody else was their first year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I still
Awesome.
waited till the very last second to
Uh-huh.
enter.
Was
took
it a
all
confidence thing or?
No,
Okay.
I took all my pictures. Me and my regular client that I did the haircut on, we were so excited, like so pumped. He's like, "You're gonna win this. You got this." And then I forgot, and then it was like the last day, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I have to enter this right now before I forget."
Had anybody ever been to Vegas before?
No.
Okay, because of Huddle, we've had one who's been. So this is your first trip to Vegas. Not every Huddle's in Vegas as well, as you know. But so they was there anything else you had to do after that? You guys find out you've won. You're coming to Vegas. Was there any other activity or something that you did, prep work or anything? There is down here. Okay, so we'll pass the mic. What once you find out you win, now what?
Well, we had our leadership meeting, and then they awarded us, and then they announced who was going to go because I was actually third in my region.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently they send them to corporate blind.
Yeah,
as opposed
right.
to
As long as you make the top, was it top 4? As long as you
Right.
make top
Three.
4, okay, top 3 or 4 in however big the region is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then my coach got with me, and we had 2 or 3 different training sessions together where we just walked through
And
what I
it's
needed to do.
one type of haircut, right, that
Yeah.
you're working on, and
Just
you're just
one.
kind of refining over and over. All right.
Right.
Now that's nice. Anybody else?
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, after I found out, I was like, oh my God, because I found out that you have 20 minutes total, like 15 minutes for the haircut, 5 minutes for finishing touches.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first did the haircut, it took me an hour, and so I practiced on like 4 mannequins until I was
Wow.
able to do it in time and not mess up and make
Mhm.
sure everything worked out. So I was meeting with my coach and bringing mannequins home, doing it at home, just making sure
I love that.
Yeah, I did a mannequin like right before I came
Yeah,
here too,
uh-huh.
like just to make sure.
Everybody do that?
Yeah.
Just last
I had
second.
mannequins and I had my model come back quite a few times.
Mhm.
Yep.
My model's my husband. So.
Yeah.
Mine's my boyfriend's friend.
But
I
how-
was like,
how-
come in here. I need to
The hair only
practice.
grows so fast, so if you're using the same model, I mean, it's probably every 2 weeks that you get to.
I had a different model each time I did this.
Okay.
So different hair type, different person.
That's
each
good for
time.
practice though, because you don't know what you're gonna get here.
I was terrified. I just started actually doing hair out of school 4 months ago maybe.
Wait,
I
what?
started
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
I started at Sport Clips as a receptionist, I think in the middle or beginning of December, and then I think by
2018.
yeah, and then by the beginning of January, that's when I started working on the floor.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
and you're here as a finalist.
Yeah.
And
Congratulations.
Contender for the
Yeah.
look, for the best, literally the best hair cutter at Sport Clips.
Yeah, I was like, oh God.
That's amazing.
My instructor was so pumped because when I was in cosmetology school, honestly, my attendance was terrible. I didn't even think I was gonna graduate because I was like, I just had really bad confidence.
Mm.
But I mean, being at Sport Clips, and like especially my coworkers, they pump me up so much. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I can do it. But when I was
That's
in school,
amazing.
I almost never showed up. It was my instructor who was first. I wanted to be a color specialist, and I actually was offered a scholarship at Rolf's for them to take me under their wing, and I even turned that down, like to be a color specialist. But eventually, I was like, just do it, just go for it. And it was really thanks to my instructor.
What's her name?
Her name is Mrs. Congus.
Okay, all right, that's fine. I just want to give a shout out in case she listens.
She was, when I told her about this, she was so pumped for me. She was like, I knew it.
This
I
is
knew you were
great.
gonna be a star. Yeah, just sweet.
That's great. Whose is that? That's fine. Let's go ahead. That was your.
That was my
We have a wake-up call going off right now because one of our look finalists had to crash and get a nap. But I love that story. A, that you were. Now you can pass it down there. That you.
Sorry.
You were inspired, and B, that to do it, but B, that you have only been here for 4 months first as a receptionist, and now you're here as a look finalist. So most of y'all have been practicing since. When did you find out that you guys were finalists?
February.
Okay, so the last couple months, 6 weeks maybe, let's call it, you've been practicing, and you land in Vegas, and then what happens? Shay, why don't you give me represent for the group? You land, and then what happens for you guys?
Vegas is chaos.
Yes.
I really just want to say that.
Yeah.
Nothing ever goes as planned, especially like during the competition today. I know a lot of us had problems with our blow dryers. So there's certain stuff that you just like you can't plan for, and that's pretty much anything that happens in Vegas. You can't plan for.
But it's not one. It's not one continuous haircut for 20 minutes, right? Isn't what did you guys have one yesterday?
We did it for 15 minutes yesterday.
Okay, all right. Let's pass it down here. Describe that for me, because Mariah had mentioned that. Maria, thank you. Had mentioned I have a soccer player on my team, Mariah. That had mentioned that she only had 20 minutes. You guys only had 20 minutes, and you hadn't known that until you found out you were a finalist. And then when did they tell you that it's broken up into 2 sections and all that kind of stuff?
Yesterday. We found
Okay,
out.
so you didn't know until yesterday.
Oh, I knew.
I knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
All right, newsflash for any future stylists that are going to be coming to Huddle to do the look. It's broken in, so you do one haircut for how long?
15 minutes, which I found that was really great because we weren't in front of a lot of people at that time.
So let's talk about that.
Okay.
When does it happen? So general session was today, where it's literally 3,000 plus people come in through those doors to watch you cut hair.
Right.
But you got to start, and how many people are there? Maybe
It was
100
our
people.
coaches.
Maybe
Coaches.
20 tops.
Maybe 20
Okay.
people. It was literally not
So
a
you
lot
got
of people.
you got coaches.
You have three people for each person because we had our model, us, and our coach.
Okay, and they're on stage.
They're-
Everybody's
Yes,
or in the
this
crowd.
was on stage, but in the crowd, literally.
In the crowd, you could
It
have
was a handful of people.
Yeah,
It was not a lot of
just people that know you and or
right
whatever.
coaches.
Yeah, for that. Okay, and so you get 15 minutes. Why do you like that 15 minutes? Not in front of a big crowd.
I liked it at first when she told me that we would be doing 15-minute haircut first, and then the next 5 minutes on stage. I was like, I don't like
You didn't
that
get that,
because
right.
because maybe the day before when I cut, I wasn't feeling that, so I want to change it up or but
You thought it might stifle your creativity a little bit.
right.
Yeah.
But actually, I liked it because if we were on the stage for the full 20 minutes, I mean, some people get nervous, and that all the screaming and yelling and stuff like that would really like mess with you. So
Did that get to you guys? Yeah. All right, let's go down here. Let's talk about. So you've got literally 3,000 people, and by the way, it is like a rock concert. You have people rushing to the front of the stage to watch you guys as you're cutting hair. Tell me about the experience of all these adoring fans screaming as you're trying to focus on the most important 5 minutes of your career.
Well, the idea of it was a lot scarier than the actual thing.
Okay.
Like, as soon as I got focused in, you can't pay attention to anything else. You only have 5 minutes.
Right.
So you don't really pay attention to the people, but the adrenaline was making my hands shake.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, stop. You need to stop shaking because I need.
So you
I
weren't
only have 5 minutes.
nervous. It was just, how do I control all this energy?
Yeah.
Right? That's what's happening.
There was a lot of things happening at once. So.
Anybody? Go ahead, Christian.
My trimmers were like moving my hands were moving faster than the blade could. I mean, like I was just I don't know how I was gonna get a straight line. Well, not it wasn't straight, it was curved, but like get a line out of it. My hands were like shaking.
So yesterday there wasn't. It was more. The adrenaline was toned down. I mean, you were excited to be there, but it wasn't the nervous energy of being in front of so many people with only now 5 minutes.
Well,
Right?
I think that the clock really puts all the adrenaline on you, anyways. Because
Mhm.
like after that you're really
Is there a countdown like on the monitor where you're
Yeah.
seeing?
But you can't look at it because you're
Right.
Yeah.
Too
You
busy.
do. That's a
I
precious couple
I know.
seconds there.
Well, I
Mine
asked my
for
coach.
the
I
last
told my
3
coach to do me a minute every
Yeah.
time a minute passes and tell me. And so I mean that was helpful, but I mean.
I feel like the first
It was
15 minutes were more
lot.
stressful than like the styling today.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Debatable.
because when I seen the haircut today, I was like, oh yeah, that's not that bad. Like I like went home. Yeah, right. I went to the room and I took pictures of it before I left so I could like look at it and make sure I could see what I needed to do. And when I got into the room, I was like, God, that looks awful. But then like now that I see it, and then the next day that I seen it, I was like, that looks pretty cute. Like it's fine, it's adorable. And Max was amazing too. That was my model.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's stunning. He really is awesome.
Anybody else feel at first like shucks, this isn't looking the way I want it to look, and now in a different light you see it turn. Was that you?
Like
during the
You can take this one. Go ahead.
during the 15 minutes, what calmed me down is because it was really quiet in there for the 15 minutes.
Oh, right,
and my
yeah.
model started talking to me like a normal client. He's like,
Oh,
so
that's
where
cool.
are you from? How are you enjoying Vegas? And so for a moment, I was like back at work.
Transported, yeah.
Like I'm just doing clients' hair. That's all. And my manager and my area coach, because I'm known for being slow, and they were
You're
like,
not 2.5 per hour?
yeah, they
Cents
were.
per
They
hour?
didn't
Okay.
want. Yeah, they didn't want to like yell at me to like scare me.
Mhm.
They were like, they told me that
Like
they
little
were
baby
trying
bird,
to, like,
they didn't
run me
want to
down.
frighten you.
They're like, look at the clock, because I wasn't looking at the clock. I was talking to them,
Right.
like, and I'm like, because I thought like, oh, it's just my client. So I was
Yeah.
talking to them like normal conversation, and then I looked up and I was like, oh my god. And so and then I started to hurry up. I was like, okay, stop talking to me.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's maybe a good piece of advice we can give and pass along to future models. Like maybe spend the first 5 minutes. Did anybody else have a connection like that with their
I did.
model?
Yeah.
Y'all did?
I feel like it really
Yeah.
it helped me
Okay.
a
I feel like we
lot.
had the right
For them just to
right,
kind of
like-
talk to you like they were sitting in a chair at your
Yeah.
sport
Yeah,
clips
and they're so
location.
supportive. They're like, you got
Yeah.
it. Like
Yeah.
they give you
That
high
was
five,
cool.
like,
They
this
were
is
awesome.
great. Yeah.
But like Amani said earlier, when the 15 minutes and then you see it again the next day,
Mhm.
like I was like, oh my god, like is his head looking round? Did I not do
Mhm.
this right? Like it makes you like overthink what you previously did when I knew what I did was cute, but like now it's like, oh my god, like all theirs are straight up and mine's like I have a lot of bulk in my parietal, and like it's like a parietal's like in your
Yeah, thank you for explaining to
And,
me and anybody else listening that's not a.
And
That's-
so yeah, like she said, I think that's a bit iffy too. Is like seeing it after you've slept on it.
Was today, it was all just styling, right? They wouldn't let you.
No.
Okay,
Little
so you
bit.
could, if you needed to, could not course correct, but if you needed to tweak it a little bit
Adjust.
more.
Right. That's
So
what
today was
for.
basically to detail, to
Okay.
fix whatever you felt like you needed to fix, texturize, anything like that, and then style. I knew that I needed to blend a little bit better at the back in some areas, and actually didn't have any guards today on
Same.
stage. So
Why not?
I had mine.
we
They were,
talked
like,
about
taking it on my
guards
back.
in the back, and
So
sometimes
nobody had guards?
I
Or-
took
I
guards.
did.
Okay.
just me and her, me and Anna.
Okay,
We just
because you
didn't have
decided
guards.
you didn't want to have them?
No.
Okay.
So yesterday after we did our haircut, I don't know how the guards were taken up, but our guards weren't put in our bags again. So we went on stage and I turned around to
It's
my
a conspiracy theory, I'm just throwing it out there. I don't
I
know
remember
what
from
happened, but.
You were bought from home?
Yeah, I
Oh,
brought
wow.
my own and they took them out my bag.
Oh.
And
I
then
turned
I was
around
like,
and
I
I
don't
looked.
have 'em.
I turned around and I looked at my because I was like I knew I had to blend the back. I turned around and I looked at my coach and I was like, girl, I do not have guards.
So you're saying this in the 5 minutes, or?
In the 5 minutes.
While you're up there, that's when you find out.
Yeah, because I'm looking, I'm pulling everything out. I said, girl, I don't have guards, and she looked. We both was like, but I mean, I
Can
improvised.
you blend without? I mean, if
Yeah,
it's
I
it's
clippered.
much
I
harder.
clipper overcomb.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's like
guards are not
5
huge.
minutes.
Right, I was
deal.
gonna say, it's not quick, and yeah, your hands were
Yeah.
shaking and
It
everything.
wasn't quick, but I mean, you had to improvise. What else was I gonna do? Sit there not doing anything.
Right.
So I
Storm off the stage. I mean, you could have made a big scene in your first huddle, so.
I don't have guards. No, I
Stop,
just
you could have made everybody stop, you know?
Yeah, but I seen everybody already had their cape on. I'm like, I didn't even cape my guard because I was like, oh, I don't have guards. So I'm looking, but it was real. So you couldn't
This is
stop and
before
get
the 5
guards.
minutes started.
This is before the
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
because that's right. They wouldn't. They waited until y'all were ready to
To-
start,
to
right?
cape.
Like that was okay. All right.
But everybody was caped except for me and her. So I'm looking because we're both like, we don't have guards.
Yeah.
And then she was just like, just go.
Mhm.
So I caped and we just had to kind of do our thing.
Anybody else have stressful moments up there today that you want to share?
God, yes.
Okay, all right, let's hear it. Or today or yesterday? I'm sure today was more stressful just because of the crowd and the 5 minutes as opposed to 15 on the front end.
So with the 5 minutes, you want to detail and then you want to spend most of your time styling. So I finished all my detailing and then the blow dryer wouldn't heat up hot enough, so like it didn't dry at all. Like his hair was still wet when I put product in it, and that product needed his hair to be dry to be put in.
What
So
did
that
you
was
have? Frenzy or?
fiber.
Okay, yeah.
And that your hair has to be bone dry in
Yeah.
order for that to do what you want, and so it didn't happen.
I think that was all of ours.
Yeah, I think it was because they were on the same strip and there wasn't enough power for all of them. So
Okay, another piece of advice for a future.
Check it before.
You
Did you use it
Eating
yesterday?
check it,
element.
huh? No, I didn't use it yesterday.
I used it, but like usually after a second they start to get their heat into them,
Mhm.
and I sprayed the top. The top was dry, but I sprayed it so that I could redirect the way that a dry head is. So like when you spray it, it like redirects the way the hair will sit, so that I can push it back up. I wouldn't have sprayed it if like I would have known the flow dryer was gonna be so awful.
Yeah, that was really frustrating.
It's
And then
like,
my
wow.
product rolled off the table, so I'm like searching through my stuff trying to find it
And it's on
as
the
the
floor.
clock's like ticking down. Yeah, and it was on the floor.
Anybody not finish what they had intended to? All right, let's hear from y'all. You don't finish, and now what are you thinking? Like,
Well, I kind of had a game plan for if I didn't have enough time, because I had a lot of lines cut into mine, and I had to do the ones at the parietal, and I wanted it to come back to the point at the back, but I brought it to the round of the head, and the texture kind of covered it, so it didn't really matter necessarily. Just an extra detail I was not able to get in.
all right, Maria.
Yeah, I just wished I was able to thin mine out more because once you put the fiber in and everything, and again, like it would have helped if his hair was really dry, but it wasn't. So his hair was still a little heavy. I would have liked if it was spiking up a little bit more, but I wasn't unhappy with it.
It just didn't turn out the way that you
Right, in your
But-
mind's
but
eye, and you
really
guys are all
can't.
artists, so that you picture it
Yeah.
first.
Oh, I
you
just
really
thought it
can't.
too
In
when she
20
said.
minutes, you really can't.
Yeah, it can't be perfect.
can't be
Yeah, everything
perfect
can't go
exactly
right.
the way-
Just
yeah.
like it wouldn't in a store in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You need those extra
5 point
minutes.
play,
Yeah.
5 times
Right.
5 is 25.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. All right, you thought of one other stressful moment.
So this stressful moment actually happened before I even got to Vegas for my haircut. So I picked a product that was like my favorite product. It has the same look, but it's just got a different hold. I wanted to use the Defy matte clay, but it got discontinued.
Oh, wow.
So I had to pick a different one that didn't work.
Like, when did you know you would have to pick a different one?
Like last week, halfway through last
And
week.
so are you experimenting on all your clients, trying to figure out which one?
Well, I kind of just picked the one that I thought would be most like it, but it wasn't.
Oh.
I don't know.
My original model cut his hair 3 weeks before the competition. Took it too straight up to a hard part. It was great.
Lovely.
Well, let's see. I got a few more questions, and then we're gonna bounce and let you guys go nap. First of all, any regrets? Anybody regret this experience?
No.
No.
Okay.
Of course not.
Yeah.
This was more than what
Well,
I
we just talked.
expected it
But
to
the
be.
reason I'm asking now is because we just talked about all the stressful stuff. So I want to bounce back the other way. Even in the midst of all the stress, it was a good kind of stress, right? It's not like,
It's
Yeah.
fun.
yeah.
It was really more than what I expected it to be.
Regardless, yeah.
Honestly, I didn't think.
I think the best part is that like we all get along so well. So it wasn't like I'm not like intimidated by you guys. I know you guys are good, but you guys don't like scare me. Like I'm not scared to compete with you. Like it's more of like a team kind of thing.
Right, I just think it's fun.
Like,
Yeah.
we're all here because we're talented, and it is what it is. You know, none of us lose in this situation.
We all got a trip to Vegas.
Yeah, we all got a trip to Vegas.
Yeah.
It's a really cool experience for sure.
This was definitely, I didn't expect it to be this way. I didn't expect to be in front of all those people. I don't even do presentations. Like, I'll get a 0 before I present. So, this definitely, like, because I'm still in school as well, so it
Wait, what?
prepared me. I'm in college. I go to U of H.
Holy moly! You're doing all of this,
How did you start?
and
I do nursing school.
what? You guys are too talented. That's crazy.
Yeah, you gotta have a backup
Right?
plan
Yeah.
just in
Plan
case
B.
your hands
Yeah.
fall
No. Well,
off.
hey. No.
Yeah,
These knees ain't gonna
you
last
can't
forever.
plan for
No.
anything going wrong here because it's
It's all fun.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter.
oh,
Go
it
with the
is.
flow.
Oh, I mean, I did have a stressful moment when I was sitting down. Remember, I was like, oh, his hair is too short for a mohawk. It's not, but it was just packed down. So he was
yeah.
seeing me like talking about his hair, and he pulled it out. He was like,
I
oh,
was the same way.
Yeah.
I thought, I drove Ashley crazy with like how many models she had to find for me because it seemed like everyone had shaved sides. I was like, I can't. I need need someone.
Oh, so you get to kind of at least put a request in for what kind of model you're looking for?
They'll
Oh,
try to find one pretty
They'll try to
similar
do
to
their
the one that
best,
you
yeah.
submitted.
okay.
And then eventually, like, she found Mario, and Mario, it was perfect. From the pictures, I thought maybe his sides might be too short, but no. Once I combed through his hair, it was perfect. So I was really relieved because they told me that I'm the first person ever to not use clippers for the look competition. That everyone previously has always used clippers. So I was scared, like, what if I can't find someone with long enough hair to do
Right.
a razor all around? But it worked. Mario's hair turned out nice. I liked
Oh,
it.
yeah, I did. I'll say. I 2 questions for everybody. So are you going to answer this first one, and then you answer the second one? The second will be real quick. Let's start down here this time for the first question, since we started down there. First question is, what do you know now that you wish you have known when you arrived at Huddle for doing the look? Like one piece of advice you would have given yourself when you hit the ground here, if you could go back in time. So really, you're telling the future version of the look finalists this piece of advice. Your version of that is what?
Oh, nothing, because I feel like I don't have any advice that I would give my.
You liked the whole unknown
everything.
element and
Mhm.
just letting it all unravel and unroll right in front of your eyes.
Right.
You don't feel like you needed any sort of advantage. You just wanted to experience everything in the moment.
Right, because I mean, I love cutting hair. To me, it wasn't anything extra. You know, like I love cutting hair. I love doing mohawks. Like I just love everything about cutting hair.
Okay, excellent. All right.
For
What do you
me,
wish you would have known?
I just would have liked if, like, I had a little more confidence in myself. Just because, like, from even from right before I came here, I'm like, why am I here? I don't like. I'm a newbie. How did I end up here? Like, I just wish I had.
That's called a prodigy in this industry. Just so you know.
I just wish I had more confidence in myself because in the end, like, once I actually did it, it wasn't as bad as it was in my head. I was like, you're gonna mess up. You're gonna drop everything. You're gonna suck. And
So this was a lesson to yourself, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, are you walking away with more confidence than when you came?
Definitely.
So amazing. All right, what do you wish you would have known?
Honestly, I was really prepared. My coach, this is her 3rd year being a coach for the finalists.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So.
Who's your coach again?
Kate Skelton.
Okay, yeah, Kate. All right.
Yeah. The only thing I would have liked to change was my flight, getting here a lot earlier, so I could have slept. But other than that, I felt good.
Next time.
Next
All
time.
right. Christian, what do you wish
I don't think I'd change really anything. Just probably like practice the time restraints that you have. Like, get it all down.
Get that
as
rhythm down
possible.
just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But still factor in the fact that anything could go wrong.
Yeah,
And once you
literally.
experience
You never
something
know
happening.
The lump in someone's head.
Right.
Or the mole. You could cut.
Blood everywhere.
Lord. The mole.
I see.
I would honestly say if you need anything, bring it with you. Like whether it's products or combs or blending combs or guards, everything. I mean, if you are like on the fence about the products that you're gonna use, bring extra because you might change your mind last second because your model's hair here isn't gonna be the same as what your model's hair is there, like what you submitted. And so you kind of have to tweak the products that you use to fit the head that you're cutting.
That's good. Okay, last but not least.
I definitely agree with the product one because if I could go back, I would have picked something completely different. But like not being so scared. Like I cut hair every day, all day, yet this scares me. This one haircut scares me. So just not being so scared.
Can you believe we're 40 minutes into this? So you guys have been amazing. You are amazing. I have one final question, and you do have to answer it if you want to leave and go take your nap. All right. So you cannot pass on this answer.
I
All
took
right?
a nap.
Yeah. She can hang all day. All right. The question I want to ask, and remember, we're recording this. It's Monday afternoon. You guys have done the look. You finished. We don't know who the winner is. We won't know until tomorrow. There's an awards banquet, and y'all will be there, and that's when we'll announce it. Who do you predict is going to win?
Is it Imani?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. And by the way, you
Yeah.
can pick yourself. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Okay. That's your. Okay. We're gonna go back and watch this and see who was right. All right.
I have full faith in myself. It's not that I don't have faith in
That's
anybody
fine.
else here.
You-
But you know, I came to win, and that's the
Mhm.
mindset that I have, and that's the mindset that everybody has. And if you don't believe in yourself, then it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Okay. That's fine with me. All right, Christian.
If it's possible to tie, I'm tying with Imani. If
Okay.
it's possible, the triple tie is going to be all three of us. I
Okay.
think. Just the fades were gorgeous.
Mhm.
I think that's something that is in style right now.
Yes, for sure.
Rather than, I mean, I love scissor cuts. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but they're just not like what comes in the door every day.
Yeah.
Rather than a fade that comes in every.
Okay. And I don't know if we ever have had a tie. Well, I can't remember, but
I think
might be
everybody
first.
places.
Yeah.
Everyone does plays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Your prediction.
Like with Shay, I'm going for myself.
All right. Great.
Feeling confident.
All right. Good.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Here's the wild card. Who's she gonna pick?
I do have high hopes for myself.
Yes.
Because even though
Look at this. Look
even
at this
though-
change
even
we've
though-
had in this lady in
Her
24
lesson is
hours.
learned.
even though fades are like trendy and it's an everyday thing, a lot of the previous winners were fades. And
Right. That was
it's
my
just
whole thought.
mainly I just wanna. It's different. I can show that sport clips isn't just clipper
Wow.
cuts, just fades.
Yeah.
It's that we're capable of doing any kind of haircut. But if I weren't to choose myself, Imani's haircut, her model was the one I found myself looking at the most.
Okay. Great. All right.
Thank
He has some good looking hair.
Right.
Thank y'all. I
Okay.
really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm confident in myself.
Okay.
I don't know.
You can. There's no shame. If I was a stylist, I'd probably be picking myself, and I don't know. What
I mean,
the
I
heck
just
would look
love
like, so.
mohawks. So I just feel
Yeah.
like it's really trendy. It's really a lot of people want to do it, but they're scared to do it because they're like, I don't know how it look. You know, like just do it. You can cut it off.
It's a
and fade it
commitment.
off. It's definitely a commitment, but it's easy because I've taken mohawks off because previously people got mohawks and were scarred by them.
Yeah.
You know, and I literally the person that I entered the competition with, he came in and he was like, I want to take it off. I said, please, I literally begged this man to let me. I said, let me cut it again. Let me do your mohawk. And he was like, okay.
And you hadn't cut his.
I never cut his hair
okay,
before.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I just love doing mohawks. People pass mohawks to me in my store. They're like, oh, she does mohawks. She can do it. You know, so
You should. You know, on Salon Ultimate, you can have a nickname.
Mohawk Slayer.
Yeah. You guys should have one for you and your store.
I do
Yeah.
want to say something about
Okay.
Maria. So, as a manager, my favorite thing is literally having people directly out of school. I feel like they're the easiest to train. They become the best stylists. I mean,
That was me 4 years ago.
I really would prefer a brand new stylist versus somebody who has had experience in this industry. It is so hard to retrain people. It
Yeah,
really
no.
is.
There's
My-
three of y'all came right out of school and went into a sport clips, right?
Yeah.
I mean, four of the six. No, you had
Uh,
worked
I did
somewhere else.
women's hair previously.
Oh, okay.
I did
alright.
women's hair
I
for
worked-
about 8
okay.
months.
I worked somewhere else, and
Yeah.
my manager, honestly, I did not. I was straight out of school. I was like, I just need to get a job, and I moved to Houston. I'm from San Antonio, and I moved to Houston. She hired me, and I said, I don't know how to cut hair. I don't even know how to turn the clippers on. And she was like, don't worry about it. I'll teach you everything. So within a week's time, she had me on a mannequin. From the mannequin, she threw me on the floor. And I was also hungry to learn. When I was in school, I did not want to do men's haircut at all. When the men's haircut came through the door, I clocked out. I'm like, I'm not doing it. So, it's crazy because now I don't want to do women's hair. I would like to just do men's hair.
Yeah.
It's quick, it's easy, and it's just
You get more tips that way if it's quick and easy. Right?
well, more
I mean,
tips, yeah, and it's just I don't like to be with the same person for 3+ hours. Like,
No offense, ladies.
we lose
Yeah.
conversation.
Right.
You know?
There's only so many things you can talk about in the
Yeah.
course of that haircut versus with a guy, and that's amazing. Anybody else have anything they want to add or want to say for the record before we wrap this up?
As a
I have one.
manager.
Okay, all right.
About you too, Maria. I think it's awesome that you like went outside the box because I could not have done that. Like it's so cool because a fade is just what I'm good at, and yeah, like it's so
Comfort
common.
zone.
Right.
It's so common that like it's just second nature. But that haircut, that would have taken me an hour for sure.
Yeah. Which it did when she submitted
Yeah,
it.
first
So.
did it, yeah.
Razors, I haven't used a razor in God knows how long.
I use a razor and a carving comb, so tried to implement too.
I don't think I own
Incredible.
I would say as a manager, it's really cool to watch the competition. It is a completely different ballgame to be behind the
to
scenes.
see it.
I haven't done anything huddle like since I've been here. Like I think right now we're supposed to be in class or something.
Right.
But
No nap. Remember, you're gonna get
I know,
you're
nap.
to nap at this
Chad
point,
Jordan
but-
told me to.
Yeah, that's right. It's, you're
But
allowed.
it's really cool to see like the behind the scenes and what goes into the huddle and like how
The rehearsal.
the rehearsal.
Those dancers, man.
The dancers are
Yeah.
really.
Our
And you
models
believe
wanted
it?
to dance. Look.
They did. They were sitting in our chairs just like
That's just
bobbing.
crazy.
It was really really.
Testosterone.
Yeah. It was fantastic. You guys are Hall of Famers. This is a Hall of Fame podcast. You're Look
Okay.
finalists. You are official Sport Clips Hall of Famers. And
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna win, but I know it's gonna be one of y'all, and it's gonna be epic celebration. So
We're all winners.
you really are. I mean, you're all gonna be on that stage at the awards banquet, and we're gonna celebrate you and everything that you've done. So whether it's somebody growing in their confidence from this, you guys experiencing Huddle for the first time or whatever, I know this has been a great time for y'all, and it's even better for us on the other side watching you guys get to do your thing. So from all of us Sport Clips, thank you so much. We're proud of you, and we'll see tomorrow night who the winner's gonna be.
Yes.
All right, thanks everybody. Hey, good job, guys. That was great. Great. Thank you, my man.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you,
y'all,
thank
about
you,
the phone.
thank you. No,
It
you
was
know how
just
many
an
times?
alarm.
You know how many times that's happened?
It was